All right, it's Thursday evening. It's weather for Weather Geeks time. I think this is only the third time I've been in the studio in the evening hours to do weather for Weather Geeks in the last 2 months, since, the third week of March when all this really started to get serious. We have not had very much active weather in the evening hours that has required me to stick around and kind of babysit the radar for the time between the 6 and 11 o'clock newscasts, but this evening is one of those evenings in which I'm keeping an eye on the radar, even though I'm pretty encouraged by what I'm seeing as of 7:23 this evening. Let's start with today's numbers. We started at 40 this morning, but that was at 1:02 a.m. As the clouds rolled in later in the night, the temperature started to rise. We woke up this morning with temperatures in the mid-40s, up to 70 this afternoon. It was a big difference, I think, in how it felt this morning to how it felt by the end of the afternoon. It even felt a little bit humid out there by the second half of the day today. As those dew points started to rise, we've come a long way since early this week when it was cold and windy and we had some snowflakes. All right, time lapse from Niles today showing the benign start to the day. Then we had some showers that pushed in by the end of the morning, and these lasted a couple of hours. It's been fairly quiet ever since, although not so quiet for a time this evening. And here is why. As of 7:24, here's what the radar looked like. We had a heavy band of showers with very little lightning left in this. Moving into western Trumbull County, northwestern Mahoning County, again, as of 7:24, by the time you're watching this, of course, this will be a little outdated, but the bottom line here, this looked a lot meaner a couple of hours ago when it was back towards I-71 in central parts of Ohio. This produced quite a bit of wind damage on the west side of Cleveland, and especially out towards Sandusky, down into the Mansfield area, and some hail down into the northern suburbs of Columbus. Now, this is racing to the east at between 55 and 65 miles per hour. So again, most of you will be watching this well afterwards, but I'm going to do a quick storm track on this, give you some clock times. This crosses the state line as we get into the 8 o'clock hour, close to 8 o'clock, 7:55-ish in Sharon, Mercer at 8:08, over towards Slippery Rock at 8:21. This is, again, racing off to the east, so a quick gust of wind, quick burst of rain, but in any one location, this is not going to last very long, and again, there's not much lightning and thunder with this, unlike a couple of hours ago when this was putting on a vivid lightning show back towards I-71. Now, we would not mistake this air mass for the middle of summer, but hey, it still feels a little bit muggy out there, especially compared to where we've been so far in the mid to late portions of spring. We have a cold front off to our north and west, and this is tomorrow's weather maker. This will start tracking our way tonight, and this will bring us the threat for some heavy, gusty thunderstorms again tomorrow. In the meantime, the overnight hours tonight, once we lose kind of our main line here, a couple of showers may cross the area. It's going to be a warm night. A lot of us won't drop below 60 overnight tonight. I suspect as most people get up and around Friday morning, it will be dry, and it should be dry throughout the morning. But as we get into the afternoon and our cold front approaches, the chance for showers and storms will increase, and especially second half of the afternoon as this cold front approaches, our risk for gusty storms will really start to ramp up, and then we'll be left with a couple of showers as we get into the evening. Storm Prediction Center does have a lot of eastern Ohio, western PA in the slight risk of severe weather. As we get into severe weather season, these terms can be confusing. It's not the best system in the world when it comes to the terminology here. What's the difference between slight, enhanced, moderate? A lot of people don't understand that, so we like to kind of modify this or supplement this with some numbers. Slight risk is basically a 2 on a 1 to 5 scale. It's not real low, but it's certainly not real high. And the severe weather risk overall tomorrow is probably a little bit higher locally than it has turned out to be today. So I've put between 5 p.m. and 9 p.m., maybe as early as 4, but late afternoon, early evening as our time frame here in which we could see wind gusts that are pretty strong. There's a lower end risk of hail. I think the tornado risk is very minuscule. This is mostly a straight line wind damage threat with any thunderstorm late tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening. So again, if there's hail, it's probably small hail, nothing real impactful. It is mostly about the possibility of wind. Now we're going to squeeze in a nice day Saturday after a cloudy start, maybe some fog. The afternoon should be partly to at times mostly sunny, very comfortable, mid-70s, humidity a non-factor. Take advantage of Saturday. That's your day to take care of the landscaping, do the gardening, mow the yard, because Sunday, while it may start out dry first thing in the morning, there may be some showers around by midday, and the atmosphere will destabilize some as we get into this juicier air mass as we get into the afternoon. And with a pretty strong cold front approaching, I think Sunday could be kind of like tomorrow, a pretty decent risk of severe weather during the second half of the day. Now, our rainfall totals lately have been pretty paltry. We picked up a tenth or so in most spots today, but this is looking like an increasingly unsettled pattern for the next several days. Tomorrow, Sunday, into Monday, and even into the first half of next week. We could end up with a couple or even close to a few inches worth of rain over the next 7 days. Again, stark contrast to the first half of the month. Let's talk about next week because, you know, we've been talking about how, well, next week looks awesome. It's going to really warm up. What a change that's coming. That change is still going to occur, but it's not going to be as dramatic and fast as it looked like it would be. Why is that? Well, keep an eye on this little doodad right here, this dip in the jet stream early next week. This is Monday. I've paused the animation on. This little dip in the jet stream, now you'd think it would just keep on kicking out into the Atlantic. Well, that's what it looked like it would do a couple of days ago. The modeling has shifted fairly dramatically in the last 48 hours, showing now this thing cutting off from the main flow. In other words, becoming detached from the jet stream and sinking to the south. So by midweek, the jet stream is way up here. This thing has meandered south, and without it taking a ride on the jet stream, it's not going to get pushed along very fast. And what this does for us is keeps the shower chances around through the first half of next week, and also keeps this ridge at bay, so we don't get under this ridge as fast. And that means we've got 60s instead of 70s now in our forecast for the first half of next week. Now, eventually this thing will meander off the playing field, but it might take all the way until next weekend to do so. And so while next week will not be as cold as it has been, we're not looking at highs in the 40s or anything like that, it doesn't look like the pattern flip will be as fast and dramatic as it looked like it would be a couple of days ago. But I still think that thing will get off the playing field by next weekend. And so in the longer range, I think we're still on track for a much warmer last act of May than the first half of the month. It's just 80 maybe pushing it during next week. If we see 80 for the first time this year, it's probably going to be next weekend. We'll get into the mid-70s tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we got some intervals of sun before the thunderstorm chances ramped up. Sunday, you know, we got a shot at upper 70s. 80 might be pushing it, but upper 70s before the cooler air returns early on next week. All right, I'll keep you updated on social media this evening with our advancing line of gusty showers, and I'll be live tonight on 21 News at 11 with a look at the radar and an update on tomorrow's severe weather risk. Thank you for watching Thursday evening's weather for Weather Geeks.